it ultimately was just like a comedic job to us because like we would see these people. And I remember once like we were working at Sony and we were friendly with one of the executives, and he was physically hiding from a movie star in his office because the movie just came on. The guy's movie just came on tracking, and it wasn't tracking well.
Oh no!
And he was like there for a meeting, and we like came to like drop something off, and he was like literally like don't let them know I'm here because like it was like Denzel Washington's gonna yell at me and I don't want him to. I love him. Right? He's my favorite and he's gonna scream at me if he sees me.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like that's pretty funny.
It's really funny.
It's Breaking Bread.
We've never met before.
I don't think we have. I was just wondering. I was just thinking that in my head. I don't think we have.
We've never met.
A pleasure.
Do you think I have to go to more parties?
No.
No.
Not at all. There's nothing good out there. Just disappointing.
Yeah, I know some.
Do you feel you should?
I don't know.
Do you get invited to
I don't want
you don't
to.
Go to? Yeah.
I don't want to.
No.
But you know, you see people meeting people and going to parties after the Oscars or whatever, and you're like, I don't know.
I should have gone.
Should I have gone?
That's
like we would have met, maybe.
We would have met. Yeah, it would have been disappointing.
Are you good at a party?
No,
not
at all. I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think I leave a good impression.
I always like just blurt stuff out inappropriately.
Yeah, I do that a lot too.
The worst is when you see a couple people talking and you know, and to try and break into that circle, like when you come up.
I just say, "What are you guys talking about?"
That's good.
I don't know if that's the elegant way to do it. I try. That's where I've landed with it.
Well, it's good to finally meet you.
You
I've
too.
been a huge fan of yours. You made me laugh for such a long time.
Thank you so much.
I was really psyched for this. And we had Ike on the other day. We had Ike Barinholtz on, and this is going to be so much more fun.
Oh, I can't imagine. No, I'm much worse than him in this setting. He aims to please.
Yeah, he really did
much
try.
more than I do.
He was really trying.
Yes, that part of me is long dead. It's why I like having him around.
Yeah,
it
right.
reminds me of what it was like
when I had
to try and care. Yeah.
When I had enthusiasm.
Exactly, it was nice.
I just baked this bread for you this morning.
That's amazing.
Yeah, if you can touch it, it's your bread.
That's incredible.
It's hot.
Oh wow, it really is warm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful bread.
Yeah, and I was performing in Vegas over the weekend, so I had to get my wife to feed the starter on Saturday. So when I rolled in yesterday, the timing would be all right that I would complete it by the time I saw you.
That's amazing. I love a sourdough.
Yeah, I hope you enjoy it.
I'm sure I will. Is it a new, how long have you been making sourdough?
Like 10 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Did you take the master class?
No.
It's supposed to be good.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found myself in France at the bakery that belongs to the woman who teaches the sourdough.
Poulain?
Yeah. And we got a tour, and we got to see their ancient oven and their starter that they've had for hundreds of years. It's a friend of a friend, like married into the Poulain family.
Wow.
And so we got to hang out with them. And
That's so cool.
And I was like, I like bread, but if I loved bread, this would be a really cool experience.
We had her on the podcast, I think during COVID, maybe. And I just fell in love with her.
She's super cool.
Yeah, really cool.
She made me feel not cool.
Yeah, right, yeah. You throw a little French accent on it to boot, and then you're really like completely out of it.
Yeah.
Straight off the top, congratulations on the studio.
Thank you.
Man, oh man, it's good. I've seen 4 of them already.
Thank you so much.
And it's really, really great. It's great on so many levels.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, really well done.
Thank you.
Very cool. My favorite thing, I was thinking, like as I was watching, it was like, I just like that someone's making us feel happy about LA for a minute.
Yeah, I love Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And we really wanted to show the beauty of LA and what it's nice, the nice, I mean, it's all over LA, but like, it's funny, as we were originally putting like the idea for the show together, me and Evan, my writing and directing partner, were like, we were like, to us, a lot of our experience in Hollywood is being in like very beautiful places, having very stupid arguments. And that was like a cornerstone of the show, I think, was the juxtaposition of like these amazing buildings and locations. And LA's a very beautiful city a lot of the time. And and you're just often screaming at each other about like, the stupidest shit in the entire world in these places.
I love Warner Brothers. That's just such a perfect lot.
Yeah, it's a great lot. It's amazing.
God, it's so good there.
Yeah, it's really, really, really nice.
Yeah.
We wanted it's like it's one of the older lots. It's all they're all amazing in their own way.
Yeah.
Like, they're all really quite beautiful,
They are.
Yeah, but Warner Brothers, it hasn't been filmed that much, Warner Brothers also, I feel like. They used it a little bit in Mank, I think, but it's not. It's like a slightly undershot lot. Paramount's like in a lot of stuff.
Yeah. When the first that office where you're going in, where it's supposed to be like a shrine to filmmaking, whatever. That office.
That's not real.
Yeah. Well, the shrine's not, but that building right there is, right? When you're walking up past those like little bungalow offices across.
That's real, but like the actual office where the show is set is not a real. It's
right.
It's
On the
set.
inside.
Yeah, and the outside. The outside is not real as well. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's all. It's like a trickery. It's like a facade combined with visual effects, basically.
Oh, very cool.
No, that's actually the Warner Brothers television building, which is an incredibly unremarkable building.
Yeah, because
building that we covered up basically and built like a big giant fake Frank Lloyd Wright building there.
All right, cool. Because when you're coming up, there's all those little buildings on the side.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I had my very first table read ever out here was in that building.
Those are all real. Yeah.
Right.
We seamlessly folded a fictional building into the lot, basically.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I don't know who you know over at Apple, but they're spending a lot of money because it looks gorgeous. The whole thing looks like a beautiful film.
Thank you. Yeah, we hired a really great cinematographer named Adam Newport-Berra. And it's funny. I came up doing comedy that was incredibly improvisational and I would say like the look of it was not the priority for the most part.
You're never thinking
I remember once we were making 40-Year-Old Virgin and I like made a suggestion to Judd about like a way to make the frame nicer and he like straight up made fun of me. like it was like I was met with mockery with like the desire to have the composition of the shot be a little nicer. And so it really like I think more and more, and going back to the 70s and 60s, comedy. It's not like there's no good looking comedy, but it's just not. It's not how I was brought up making comedies.
No.
Really, was like a focus on the look, And so me and Evan really thought it would be nice to try to make something that. That was a real challenge to make something that was very funny, but also hopefully very beautiful in a lot and kind of like, because it's also about movies. So it feels like it should speak that language like fluently, and be, and kind of feel like it's made by people who are well versed in that. So you kind of like subconsciously feel like we can maybe speak on it with like a little more authority. So I think adding beauty and, like technical acumen, like adds to the joke of the show in a lot of ways.
It does. Yeah. Because it is so crazy that you are making this when they're trying to make great films. Like it is such a special thing. Yeah. But the chaos behind it of what it is, every single step of what it is completely insane.
It's really it's honestly really like that. Like if anything, this is I would say like a sympathetic portrait of how crazy it tends to be from my experience. Yeah.
Man, so many things have to go right before you get there.
Yeah.
It was funny because you talking in the first one, I think about she's trying to get this shot without any cuts. It's just gonna be one long shot, and it was like, wait a minute, I think they're doing that to me watching this first episode. Wait, I don't think there's been a cut. I started like scrolling back to see if there was, and you did, right?
With every there's one episode that's has no cuts, but every scene within the show has no cuts, basically. So unless there's like a time cut or location cut, we don't cut. Like, so there's not traditional coverage where, you know, we're filming one person, then the next person. Every scene is one, like continuous shot, basically.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was mostly to add to like the stress of the tone of the show. Like it felt like it was a little more like unrelenting and immersive, and because it never settles into like a pattern, it kind of keeps you off kilter all the time, basically, and it's stressful. Like we wanted it to feel stressful to watch, basically.
And that music, the music behind it, it's like Birdman-ish.
It literally is the composer who did Birdman.
It is?
Oh, yeah. But we kept using Birdman as the temp music, and then we were like, we should just hire this guy. Antonio Sanchez is his name, and he's amazing. And he's a brilliant jazz drummer, and the show's a lot of jazz throughout it, but sort of like it's like a rhythmic drumming, basically, that like never quite settles into like a steady thing. And again, it sort of is always like keeping you a little off balance, I think. But no, it's literally the guy who did Birdman.
That's so cool.
If you're gonna steal, just steal.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is really cool. And it's such a an ode to Hollywood, but I like that it's comedy.
Yeah.
I like that it's like, you know, there's been stuff that, you know, tries to make, you know, the stories about this town and that thing, but to have it be pure comedy is great.
For sure. I mean, I was like, Larry Sanders Show was always like my favorite thing in the entire world.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I grew up loving The Player, but I wouldn't say it's like an outward hilarious movie for the most part. Like, there's funny stuff in it, obviously, but it's not like it's, you know, really trying to kill on a moment-to-moment basis. But like when we were young, Larry Sanders was like the thing that like really blew our minds and opened our eyes. And like, I think the first thing to like really like pull back the curtain and, you know, I just remember that the first episode was like, started with Bob Saget, I think, on the couch, and then it cuts backstage. Like, what the fuck was that? When he asked me the fucking questions, and it was just like, again, especially at the time with him, like it was just like such a oppositional view of how you were used to seeing him, you know, and it always just left such an impression on us, and that to us was like always a goal, and we wanted to make something that was really funny. Yeah, like we were outwardly trying to like kill and to create like plots and storylines that really like ratcheted up the comedy as they went along, and really, you know, we tried to really like structure the show in like a true like situational comedy way. Like, and it's really episodic. It doesn't have, it's not like a 5-hour long movie, you know what I mean? Like, we really wanted it to like essentially like one joke per you know, one like comedic idea per episode that it's like really bringing to like a heightened more and more kind of excruciating place. But we wanted it to be very simple and propulsive, and hopefully like hit a comedic crescendo that really is just like, again, something that is just kind of unexpected and hopefully just makes you laugh really hard. You know? Yeah.
Which is a very cool combination as you talk about it, because it really feels like a combination of that great TV comedy, but set in this film facade. It's really, I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah, I mean, it really like, I think it's like I grew up watching, like, I mean, I was obsessed with Seinfeld and Larry Sanders, and like I loved these shows where it was like they were great episodes of television, and that's something we talked a lot about as we were like constructing the show. Was like, I think the kind of, again, like the norm with these streaming shows is that it's telling one big long story, and our show kind of does that, but like this idea of kind of using the visual language of these newer shows, which are very cinematic and have every bell and whistle that a movie has, you know, as far as time and resources and cameras and stuff like that go, and talent, you know, but to really focus it in on like really on like a classic sitcom like episode structure in a lot of ways.
And it gives you relief as a viewer. You're not like, you watch some of these dramas and you're like, this feels like a book report.
Yeah, like, you gotta always. I'm always confused. I was watching like, what was it called? Night Shift, Night Call, the Netflix one about the spies, Night Action, a Night Agent, and I was watching Night Agent, Reacher, and Day of the Jackal simultaneously, and I was just like, I don't know, it's too much spy plot. Like I can't keep track of it. It was just too much spy plot. But I think that's a nice thing about our show is like you don't have to. There's not a running story storyline you really have to like be remembering on a week to week.
I truly, just as a fan, thank you. It was like such a relief.
Yeah.
I know. People were like all into Game of Thrones and they're like with these imaginary worlds and people and stuff. I'm like, I'm out. I don't know what is happening.
It's like, even like I love Severance so much, but I when the second season started, I like sat down to watch. I was like, I'll watch like one of these like 20-minute YouTube videos like recapping the last season, and like 5 minutes in, I was like, I don't remember anything that happened on the show, and I had to watch I rewatched the entire first season like in like a weekend leading up to the second season, and it's a great experience. But I just simply don't have the brain capacity to do that with a lot of television.
I really
shows.
don't. It's ridiculous.
It's too much. They're asking too much of us.
We just had Joe and I were talking about White Lotus.
Oh yeah.
And love White Lotus. He's making great stuff. It was cool. And this one I'm not that into this season. And then he told me about some plot things, and I was like, oh, I don't have to watch it. What a relief.
Exactly. I don't it's like someone just telling you a story. I'm like, which is also nice. I'd love for someone to just tell me White Lotus.
I know.
A nicer way to spend my day.
I don't have to walk around thinking I've got to get to this assignment.
No, just explain it to me.
I know you've been, you're out there. You've been doing interviews for a really long time and talking about a lot of stuff over and over again. So I just decided I want to throw in some questions. And if at any point you feel like you don't want to answer a straight question, and if I don't want to ask you one, we'll go to the secondary question.
Okay, great. Sounds good.
Okay, here's one. Would you rather ride on the back of a cow?
Yeah.
A tiger.
Oh, yeah.
Or The Rock?
The Rock?
The Rock.
Man, probably The Rock. I would imagine.
Like a piggyback.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I once worked with a tiger.
You did?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say I once worked with The Rock.
No, I've never worked with The Rock. It would have been probably a preferable experience. I hear he's late a lot.
What was the tiger?
I did a movie called The Interview about North Korea, and there's a scene with a tiger. And I directed the movie with my partner, and we wrote the scene where there's a tiger, and I thought in my head it would be like a CG Life of Pi had come out sort of recently,
right.
And I was like, oh, we'll get the Life of Pi. We'll do the Life of, put us down for one Life of Pi. And they were like, we can't afford that at all. Like, we got to get a real tiger. And I was like, oh, God. And so we found a tiger wrangler in Calgary.
Wow.
And we had a call with him, and it was so funny. And he was like the least confidence-inspiring person you've ever spoken to in your entire life. I was like, where'd you get the tiger? He's like, from a stripper. Okay. And we were like, what? And he was like, yeah, she had a tiger cub as a part of her act, and he got too big. And she was like, I got to get rid of this thing. We were like, where does stripper get a tiger? He's like, it's easier than you think. That was his. He's like, you could get one. And then we had sent him the script, and he's like, let's just go over the scene. And he's like, so you're not shooting this at night, are you? And I'm like, yeah, the scene's set at night. He's like, ooh. And I was like, why is that bad? He's like, well, they hunt at night.
Oh,
like, okay.
Jeez.
He's like, can it be during the day? And we were like, no, is that okay? And there's like a long pause, and he's like, yeah, it's okay. I think it's okay.
I'll make it
and
work.
He's like, it won't be in a big open area, will it? And we're like, yeah, it's like a giant, like a meadow, basically. And he's like, ooh. And we're like, is that bad? He's like, well, if there's like a deer or something, they will go after it. Oh, no. And we were like, oh, well, that's bad. Should we not do this? He's like, no, it's fine. And he's like, it won't be raining, will it? We're like, yeah. And we were like, literally, we're filming in Vancouver in the winter. It will be raining. And he's like, oh, that's not good. And we were like, why? He's like, oh, the rain just really agitates them. They just don't like the rain. And we were like, should we not do it? And he's like, no, it's fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. And then the day arrives, and there's the tiger, and the guy, and I see him like walking it around, like 100 yards away. And I'm just like, we got to shoot this in a way that I'm like nowhere near the tiger. Like, I just don't want to be near the tiger. And it's like we shoot the tiger's half and my half, and I don't want to go see the tiger. I don't want to touch the tiger. And the guy like marches right up to me, and first of all, he's supposed to double me in the scene, and I I had seen him, and I'm like, you're gonna have to lose some weight if you're gonna double me. Not that I'm small, but he was a big
guy.
He's a big dude, and he's like, great. I've been looking for an excuse to lose some weight, and I see him walk toward me, and he's maybe gained 10 pounds in the time that I've seen him, and he's like squeezed into the same wardrobe as me, and I'm just like, you didn't lose weight. And he's like, it's fine. It's like, don't worry. And he's like, if you don't think we're gonna match, then you're gonna have to do the tiger stuff. And I was like, I don't want to. And he's like, come meet the tiger. And I was like, I don't want to meet the tiger. You got to meet the tiger. He's got to get used to you. He's got to get used to. So he brings me over to the tiger, and it's like, its head is like the size of this end of the table.
Oh, man.
It was like, I literally couldn't put my arms around his head.
Just his head.
And he's sniffing me, and I'm like getting accustomed to the tiger, and the tiger seems to like me. And we're shooting the scene, and the whole time I'm just like, I'm gonna fucking die, and it's my fault. I'm the director. I have no way out of this. And it was, and he kept getting, his son was like his co-tiger trainer, who was like 17 years old, and him and the guy kept getting in arguments like in front of everybody, where he's like, bring it over, and the son's like, I'm trying, Dad. He's like, Jesus Christ, Dad. And I'm like, this is gonna be the dumbest. I just don't want to die in a way where if you die like that, everyone's like, yeah,
right. You asked for it.
You did it that way. And then it all culminated where like we needed the tiger to roar, and it wouldn't roar, and he's like tugging on its fucking chain and shit, and it won't roar. And he's like, I know what to do. Don't tell anyone about this. Obviously, I am. And he's wearing a glove, and he takes off the glove, and he pees in it, and he's like, roll, and he goes over to the tiger, and he just takes his like pissy glove and sort of just goes like, blah, and like rubs it in the tiger's face, and the tiger just goes like, ah! And he's like, did you get it? And we're like, it didn't roar. He's like, you'll put in a roar sound, it'll look like it's roaring, trust me. And I gotta say, he was right. It really looked like it was roaring. Yeah, I just remember the tiger reacted like exactly as anyone would if you shoved like a pissy glove in their face. They were just kind of like, fuck. So anyway, not a tiger. Anyway, The Rock.
Back to The Rock. Can you watch that movie?
The Interview? Yeah. Well, that's what's so fucked up about it. It's like, it was at one moment like the most controversial thing in the world. Now it's on like TNT at 3 p.m.
Is it really?
Yeah. It's like, it's literally on like basic cable.
Wow.
Like, it's like Comedy Central plays it. Like,
that's so crazy.
Yeah, it's so weird.
I literally didn't want to like even press on it because I thought if I do it, then will spies show up at my house?
No, yeah, exactly. Not anymore.
Wow.
It's just out there.
How weird was that when that went down? Was it scary at all?
It was scary.
Yeah.
Yes. They gave us like personal security, like 24 hours.
They
like,
did.
Yeah, Sony was just like, you have to have security, and all day, like an armed guard, like on us, basically.
Jeez.
And what's funny is we were like, this is so unnecessary. Like, we don't need these people. I had one. Evan had one. Randall Park, who played Kim Jong-un, had one, and I think one of the writers had one, the other writer had one, and we were all like, this is so dumb, why are they doing this? And then one day they were just gone. Like, I remember like going outside, and like the guard just wasn't there anymore. And I called Evan, I was like, is your guard there? He's like, my guy's gone. And I was like, I liked having the guy. Like, I take it all back. It was lovely having that guy. The absence of him made me really like him.
So if you went out and went to go get coffee and come back,
he'd follow me. They would follow me in there. Yeah, it was crazy. And it was like a taste of like real controversy, I would say.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
Yeah, and I think it was a good like equal, like a good contextualizing event in my life where I think a lot of, especially people who do comedy, like think they're involved in controversy. But like, I guess in my head, I'm like, if the president isn't giving like entire news conferences about it, it's not real controversy. It's sort of controversy, but like we hit a place of like real controversy, and it was ultimately fine.
It was a big deal, though.
It was
I remember
a very
when
big
that
deal.
broke. It was like, holy cow!
It was crazy. It was really. And then I remember I was making a movie, like it all happened in like November and December. And then I was like shooting a movie in January. And one of the other actors were like, were you involved in some big thing recently? And I was like, people forgot already. It was like 2 weeks later and no one gives a shit.
All gone.
People are very self-involved in a great way. Yeah.
And there's so much news just roaring.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening
past you all the time.
That's what's good. Yeah. There's a short news cycle.
It's funny though, like the Tiger thing, even in the interview, like all this stuff is whatever situation you're in, you wrote it.
Yeah.
So it's like you actually create the problem yourself.
For sure. That happens all the time. Yeah. And I have no one to blame but myself. For these incredibly frustrating. During that episode, that's all a wonder. There was a moment at the end where I'm like, it's like the sun is setting and I'm running to the car and like the PA tries to hand me a cup of coffee and the coffee like explodes all over me. And then I get in the car and we're supposed to drive away. And we're actually shooting. The joke of the episode is like, they're trying to get the shot before the sun is setting, and we're actually trying to. That's happening in real life. Like, the sun is actually setting, and it's our last day shooting the episode. And we're actually trying to get the shot before the sun sets, which is very meta, unfortunately. Yeah. And this thing kept happening where they have to like mount the camera on the hood of the car before we pull away. And there was like the Wi-Fi in the house was like fucking with the signal or something like that. And every time they mounted the camera on the car, it like fritzed out and went haywire, basically. And every time I'm getting this drink exploded on me. So every time they reset, we have to change my clothes. And they only have 3 changes because they didn't think it was going to take that many takes. And so they're blow drying my clothes between takes. And the sun is setting and I'm running and I'm throwing coffee in my face and getting in the car. And then the camera fritzes out and everyone's running back. And there was a moment where I was like, wanted to lose my mind and freak out and yell at somebody. But I was like, this is all my fault. Like no one's making me do this. This is
this whole problem.
I caused this whole. I was the one, and we were like, it'd be funny if it was all one shot. And the sun is setting, and so I internalized it. And,
amazing.
And just kept going. Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, you literally. So you always? I mean, you and Evan were kids together, right?
Yeah, we met in bar mitzvah class.
And who was like funny? Who was funnier? Were you funnier just as far as making everybody else laugh?
Not at all. He's unbelievably funny.
You were fun. He was funnier?
Like when we made little movies when we were kids, like he was in them and I directed them. So like he wasn't, but I think I had more interest in performing than he did. Like I started doing stand-up comedy around that time when I was like 13 and I was in plays and stuff like that. And he had like no interest in being in front of an audience.
Right.
He doesn't have that wound.
Right.
in the way that I do. Yeah.
Were your parents into it at all?
No, not at all. No, my mother's a social worker, and my dad worked at like nonprofits.
Right.
Yeah. No, they just loved movies. They were like huge movie fans and comedy fans, and like really grew up like just like inundating me with movies and comedy and stuff like that. And they were very supportive. So like when I was like 13 and was like, I want to try stand-up comedy, they were like, great. Like, we'll drive you to the shows. Like they totally got behind it. Yeah.
Why at 13? Who did you watch at 13 that you thought like, I'm going to go try that? Like, was it on late night or was it? I just watched all was like, I remember there was like that Billy Crystal special where he's in Russia that my parents would watch. And I like Stephen Wright a lot. And Richard Pryor, and I would rent comedy movies from the show, and Jim Carrey, his specials, and I loved Seinfeld. I was like obsessed with the show Seinfeld as well was on then, and at that time like that was like the way I like wanted a career. I like didn't want to have a normal job. So I was like, I'll start doing stand-up comedy. Maybe I'll get like a sitcom like Seinfeld did, and I'll be like a comedic actor on a sitcom. And my parents were really into like Woody Allen and Albert Brooks and like Harold Ramis and guys like that. And so I also grew up loving movies and thinking maybe I could like Albert Brooks was like someone I really looked up to, and my parents loved his movies, so that was always someone where I was like, oh, that would be like a great type of career to have. Yeah. There is that funny thing that happened to me too in like 7th grade when you realize, there are adults being funny as a job.
Oh yeah, you can be funny for a living.
It was like, holy cow, that shifted everything.
Yeah, and then I went to like a stand-up comedy workshop. My parents like enrolled me in like a stand-up comedy workshop, like out of the Yuck Yucks in Vancouver when I was 13, and I like loved it. And I like the comics were really cool to me and like really much more welcoming than I imagine I would be of a fucking 13-year-old if I saw him. But and were really supportive and really helped me and
so cool.
like invited me into their community. You know?
What was your material at 13? Were you talking about school?
Well, no. See that it was like at first I think my material was just sort of like aping other comics I liked. I'm sure a lot of people do. So it was sort of like surreal. It was like Stephen Wright-esque material.
Nice.
Well, the very first jokes I wrote were about like my grandparents, and it was more personal, you know. And then I got more into like this other stuff, and then there was a comic, and then there was a place called the Urban Well, which is like where it was like the place in Vancouver where people performed, and Brent Butt, who's like still a successful Canadian comedian, was like the MC, and he was so funny, and it was like a good show, and they did 2 shows every Tuesday, and I would try to get on one, and there's a guy named Daryl Lennox who actually passed away recently, but he was a great comic from Seattle, I think actually, who was so nice to me and always kind of mentored me and was really, again, someone who just like took me much more seriously than you would assume. And I had just done a show where I told all these weird, surreal jokes kind of, and he took me like aside after, and he's like, you should be talking about trying to get hand jobs and stuff, man. Like, he's like, that's all you should be talking about. And he's like, you're the only one out of all of us who can like actually just talk about that from like your personal day-to-day experience. He's like, I don't know why you're telling these like weird cerebral jokes. He's like, just talk about like the stuff that's happening to you as like a 14-year-old kid. And that's also, and I did. And then we started writing Superbad, like around that time, like directly based on that conversation and this feeling of like, because Evan, who I was friends with, like we had talked about trying to write a movie as 13-year-olds do.
So great.
and then we were like, let's write a movie, like a high school movie, like based on our, like what's happening to us in high school, basically. Yeah.
Oh man. It's a crazy thing because a lot of people will have these ideas like when they're 13 with their friend and be like, oh man, we could, get stoned or whatever and be like, we're going to make a movie. But you guys went after it. That's really the whole thing.
Yeah, we did. I mean, it took a really long time, but we stuck with it, and like it seemed like something weirdly that just was possible. Like I think we had like a crazy belief in ourselves that we were able to write a movie that people would want to go and see because we were huge movie fans ourselves and we were writing a movie that we would really love. And that was really like, to us, that was like exactly as much logic as we needed.
That's all you
basically.
need. And just do it.
Yeah. Then we just did it for a really long time. It took us years and years and years. Like it took us a long time to make it like a good movie, but we never stopped,
Yeah. So when you got brought into the Apatow world, was kind of like your first like professional stuff?
So basically I was like 16. So I'd been doing stand-up a few years and got an agent through stand-up and wanted to start going on auditions to act. And then I met Freaks and Geeks was the second audition I ever got sent out on. So I met Judd like literally a couple weeks after I got an agent for the first time.
That's so great.
And Paul Feig, I mean, they were like in the audition and I'm from Vancouver. So they came to Vancouver like to do auditions because they did like a huge like national, I guess international like talent search kind of. And so I met them in Vancouver and got cast like out of Vancouver, and so I like went to LA like with a job basically, which was
Destiny.
Amazing.
Destiny.
Yeah.
So where's Evan's head at when you're starting to get roles because you guys are going to make films? Was he just like, well, this is going to be? Was it always the two of you?
Yeah. Well, his parents were much less supportive. They were more like, get a real job. This is sort of not going to pan out. And they were very skeptical that we would be able to do it, even when I kind of was moving to LA and getting going. And also, my dad's American, so I have dual citizenship, which made it so much easier for me to work. And basically, if you don't have a college degree, it's much harder to get like a green card and a work visa. So he went to McGill and finished university, but he would come to LA in the summers and we would work on Superbad. And that's when we wrote Pineapple Express was in like 2000 basically, like after I had moved to LA and he was like coming back and forth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And then when he graduated, he moved to LA like right when he graduated.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it was always a mission. It was definitely
we
like
always wanted
the
it.
two of you.
Yeah, and I kept, even though the shows I was working on kept being canceled, I kept working as a writer. and even though no one wanted to make Superbad, it was like a writing sample that would like always get us meetings and stuff like that. So like it was very encouraging, even though it was very discouraging in some ways. It was like enough to keep us going, basically.
Yeah. That's one of the most amazing things to me is when people make film, get stuff done that you have to believe in that idea for so long.
Yeah.
Because it can sometimes take like a decade before you can actually make the thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. You better really like your idea.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, because if you don't, you'll just give. I mean, that's why a lot of people just give up on it. Like if it's not an idea that you like love, then it's like it's just too much work. You know what I mean?
Did you have any that you guys wrote that didn't get made?
Definitely, yes.
Of like something that you really loved?
Yeah, we've written a few things over the years that even still recently we've written things that have not gotten made, you know, and maybe they will, or maybe they will in like some other form. But no, we have a long list of unproduced screenplays.
But anything from the early day, from the Superbad kind of days?
Yeah, but they weren't really like our ideas. They were sort of like things that people would ask us to write, and we would write it on spec, and then just no one would want to make it and stuff like that. Yeah. But no, we spent most of our time on Superbad and Pineapple Express, and then they got made, and then we kind of just kept going from there. Yeah.
Yeah. How psyched were you when you get the real idea that Superbad's going to be made? Like you're actually going to make the thing you've been carrying around. It
was crazy. It was very nerve-wracking in a lot of ways because we like had been working on it for so long, but it was also, I mean, it was a crazy time. Like we made Knocked Up, Superbad, and Pineapple Express in like one 12-month period of time, basically.
Really?
Yeah. So like after, I think it was like Talladega Nights did really well. Sony was just like, whatever you got, we'll fucking do it. Like whatever, like Judd, like they were like they opened the floodgates for Judd, and we're basically like whatever you want to make, we'll make it, you know. And so those were Superbad and Pineapple Express were just like scripts that were like sitting there ready to be made. And so we made it all in like a very quick period of time. Yeah, so
I'm really waiting for that to happen again. Like maybe the studio doesn't, like something's got to kick open comedy again.
I know, it's interesting. Like I think it can happen. I totally do. That One of Them Days movies was really funny with Keke Palmer. It wasn't like a groundbreaking smash hit, but it was like it did comedy. Pretty well. It was fun to see in like a sold out theater full of people.
Laughing together.
Yeah, it's great. I think it'll, it's cyclical, the industry, and there's like trends, but I think, it just takes one movie also to like completely change everyone's perspective on things. So like, it'll happen again. I hope.
I hope so too. Back to my other questions.
Great.
Who would you rather, who do you think would have liked you more? Keith Richards or Frank Sinatra?
Oh man. Probably Keith Richards. Frank Sinatra would have thought I was a dope-smoking loser, I would imagine.
A hippie.
Yeah, a hippie. But Keith Richards would probably think I was totally fine.
Who do you think you would have liked more?
Probably Keith Richards as well, yeah. I've been around this far from Keith Richards. I've not said one word to him, but I was at the SNL 50th thing. I was sitting like 4 seats away from him.
Oh, you were?
Which was pretty hilarious. So I could eavesdrop on Keith Richards, which was pretty cool, I thought.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I enjoyed it.
I really like your houseplant line.
Oh, thank you.
Man, that stuff is really cool.
Oh, thanks, man. I'll send you some stuff.
I like the standing ashtrays.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Can I give you a product recommendation?
Please.
I don't know if you had this, but my grandparents used to have ashtrays that they were kind of like bean bags in the bottom.
Oh yeah, where you put them on like the arm of the chair and stuff like that. Yeah, we've talked about that. It's a good product.
It's a good product from the 50s,
It is a good product,
right?
Yeah. No, I love those.
That would be good.
Those. Yeah.
I don't have to be brought into it at all. It's totally cool. Oh yeah, Vanderpump.
Vanderpump.
Yeah.
Do you watch Vanderpump?
I don't watch Vanderpump, but I have a pug that came from Vanderpump.
Like from Lisa Vanderpump?
Yeah.
Whoa, like her rescue?
Yeah.
Was it on the show?
It was not on the show.
Okay.
My daughter hunted it down.
That's amazing.
Her sister was going to college.
That's amazing.
So she left the house, and my daughter was feeling lonely, and she did all the research herself.
Yeah.
And she was probably a sophomore in high school. And she said, I found this dog. I found a pug. We have to go get the pug. And I was just like, I just say yes all the time. So I'm like, okay, we'll go get the pug. And we drove to Vanderpump, where they have this rescue place.
You went to the restaurant?
We went to no, they have like a dog.
Oh, a dog place. Yeah.
But it's Vanderpumped.
It's Vanderpumped out.
There's this big red gold lined staircase that comes down the middle, and they present your dog.
Oh, that's amazing.
And so we're sitting there
like
waiting.
It's gentlemen prefer blondes.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
Yeah. And then this pug comes down with his tongue hanging out. He has a cold. His eyes are going crazy. Walking down this palatial
Oh,
thing.
that's so funny.
It's very funny.
And and the pug is good?
The pug is solid.
The pug turned out well?
Yeah, the pug's all right. He pees all over, but he's cool.
I love a pug.
Yeah, a pug's good.
Yeah.
You have a dog, right?
I do have a dog.
Yeah.
Ada. She's great. She's a pup. Well, she's like 14 months old, I guess. Maybe 16 months old.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so great. Who cooks at your house?
Me and my wife both cook together sometimes.
It sounds like you order out.
Yes, we order it all. Neither of us are prolific cookers, chefs, cookers. We don't even
Was
know
your
you
mom? Did your mom cook?
My mom was not a good cook.
Oh, no.
She's like since learned how after we left.
That's funny.
But as a child, no, it was not a we ate out a lot.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. We ate at Red Robin all the time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like several days a week as a family, we would go to Red Robin. And it was like a joke at my high school. And because like anytime anyone went to Red Robin, which most people do once a year, maybe, anytime anyone was there, me and my family would be there. And like without fail. And they were like, saw you at Red Robin? I'm like, yep, we're there all the time.
That's where we go.
That's where we go.
What was your order? What was your favorite?
I get a burger. There was like a good, or they had, maybe they had these like fajitas that were good. Mm-hmm. My dad would get the nachos all the time.
Nice.
Nachos. My dad loved
I like nachos.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
the same way.
My dad would travel. We live in Vancouver, my parents, and like there was like a sports bar like an hour outside of Vancouver in Richmond where like the minor league hockey team practiced, and he would like drive to the sports bar because they had good nachos.
I get that.
Yeah, I was like, that's a 2 hours round trip for some melted cheese on tortilla chips.
I like this guy.
That is commitment. Yeah.
A good nacho is solid.
Oh yeah, he loves a nacho.
You're not gonna have children.
No.
You talk about that a lot. I have kids, and
Do you wish you
we just met. So, but I want to say, good on you. Good on you.
I get a lot of that. It's not for, how old were you when you had children?
30s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems
Like late 30s.
the window's closed.
Yeah. No, it's a lot. You'll be exhausted.
I'm already exhausted.
You know, one thing I really love about another thing I really love about the studio is the first of all, in the first one, the complete lack of thought and consideration that your character or any of the people that are working with you in the studio has for just throwing all of your beliefs out the window.
Oh, yeah.
When you're faced with adversity.
Oh, yes.
And at one point, Ike says something to you like, "Why are you lying so much? Why you can't stop lying?"
I know. I just say, I don't know.
It really is such a.
It rings true.
It rings true.
Oh, yes.
It really rings true.
Oh, yeah. Hollywood, especially those, I mean, those studio people are very self-preservational. And I think that's what, like, we would see was so funny. And one of the reasons we thought the show was a funny idea is because, like, we become friends with a lot of these people. And, like, they love movies just as much as we do. They grew up loving movies. They love directors just as much as we do. They love movie stars and the magic of Hollywood just as much as we do. Except with their job, they have to make all those people hate them and constantly lie to those people and manipulate those people. And they don't have to, but, like, a lot of them do because it just makes their lives easier and it makes what they're doing doing more defensible, and it makes
time.
It just makes it a little less likely that they'll get fired in their heads for something they're doing, and it's like. It ultimately was just like a comedic job to us because like we would see these people, and I remember once like we were working at Sony and we were friendly with one of the executives, and he was physically hiding from a movie star in his office because the movie just came on. The guy's movie just came on tracking, and it wasn't tracking well.
Oh no!
And he was like there for a meeting, and we like came to like drop something off, and he was like literally like don't let them know I'm here, because like it was like Denzel Washington's gonna yell at me and I don't want him to. I love him. He's my favorite, and he's gonna scream at me if he sees me.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, that's pretty funny.
It's really funny. That's what's so heartbreaking about your character is you really play that you love film, you love these celebrities, you love everything, and nobody wants you around.
No one wants
so heartbreaking. When you're like coming on set and when you're to go to talk to these people, like you're just so psyched, and everybody's just because of the position you have, which is now the head of the studio, they're so bummed out.
And that's again like it's sometimes very real, and you give them their own little video village, and you sort of keep them separate, and you kind of like sequester them away from the real action, and you take turns going to talk to them and sort of like offer yourself up to like distract them, you know what I mean? And it is a bummer, and again like and a lot of them love it, like a lot of them again really view themselves as like additive to the process in a lot of ways,
in the movies.
And like they view themselves as filmmakers, which is debatable.
How are you with testing and stuff? I know Judd always talks about that he really finds value in testing movies and putting stuff out in front of people, and I think he's working on something with his daughter right now, and he was talking about testing it. What's your feeling on that?
With our movies, we do it a lot.
Yeah.
I'm sort of new to, like, I've never been this involved in making a television show, you know what I mean? Like, I've been in shows and we've produced a lot of shows, but I've never, like, been, like, it's never been, like, this much the focus of my attention, and I've never been, like, this much the center of the process, I guess, in a lot of ways. And so, with our movies, we test a ton, and that feedback is so helpful. But with TV, the infrastructure is so different for testing, you know what I mean? And it's also like, what experience are you trying to replicate? So, and what's funny though also is like, as we were making the show, we shot it in this very specific way, and we were sort of foregoing a lot of the things that would give us options in the editing room, because we were really like baking ourselves into one like highly refined product basically, and if we didn't like a line, we really couldn't take it out. If we wished the rhythm was different, we couldn't manipulate it, and so that was really fun and exciting and scary in a lot of ways, but it's completely antithetical to like a testing process because you can't change anything. And so as we were finishing the show and as we were making it, what was funny is the whole time me and Evan were like, this is a great like risk for us to take, but what's sort of nice is that we're never going to be like sitting in a movie theater full of people watching it because it's a television show, and so we won't. We can just hypothesize, everyone will laugh at it, but we'll never actually be faced with like the immediate scrutiny of like an audience receiving it well or not. And then the first place we played the show was like last week in Austin, Texas, in a theater with like 1,000 people. And I was like really nervous because again, like I was like, we said we never wanted to do this. The whole premise was that we weren't ever going to do this. And like the most people I'd watched it with was like in a room with like this many people. Like there was like, we were like our sound mix with like 7 people. So we didn't test the show. I never saw it in a room with like people. We never showed it to our friends. We showed it to, we brought like very small groups of people into the editing room a few times and showed it to them and got notes and stuff like that. And often we'd be like, great note. Till they'd leave and be like, we can't do any of that stuff. Like we literally can't do that. And so, this was very different because we were really like locking ourselves into something that was in many ways immovable.
Impossible.
Yeah. And so, like generally when we test, you're like, oh, if that joke doesn't play, we swap it out for one of these other jokes. But
so then at this point, the only thing you're doing by testing it is making the
torturing
executives,
ourselves.
and making the executives very nervous.
See what doesn't play exactly. So we were like, maybe we don't need to do that. Yeah,
I liked it. I like that you got Soderbergh mentioned in there. Mm-hmm. He's my guy.
He's great.
Yeah, he's the only one that puts me in things.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe not with that,
Well, this is a part of the program that we call an uncomfortable moment.
Great.
And I feel like that's a good segue for it.
I love it.
I don't like to, pitch people in front of other people or when cameras are running or anything like that. But
Great.
this idea just kind of hit me in the middle of the night, and Rachel put it together. And I just think, Ike's great. You're great.
Thanks.
I'm around.
Your tech avail.
Yeah. Currently living in LA.
Yeah. Local hire.
What do you think of this idea?
The Three Stooges. Look at that. Is that up for grabs?
That's the three of us.
That is the three of us.
Well, I don't know if it has to be up for grabs, because my thought is we
do a porno parody of it. Which means you can just do it.
right?
I like that.
Or maybe behind the scenes, I don't know their story. Like, were they nasty off camera?
I know nothing. I know they got rid of a few Curlies and Sheps, right?
Right, Sheps. They went through some Sheps.
They went through some Sheps.
and some Curlies.
And a couple Curlies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think someone's good. Didn't they do it? They did a Michael Chiklis version of this at one point.
Yeah. Wasn't Larry David in?
Was he in it?
Didn't Larry David play one of them?
Did he?
I think so.
Oh, wow.
This will be better. Again, you don't have to commit.
That's hard. I don't know if that's saying much.
You don't have to commit. I just want to throw it out there.
I think we look good together.
Right?
I think we do.
Yeah. I think it's our glasses.
I do agree with that. The Three Stooges, but with more glasses.
Are you more Canadian or more American?
I don't know. It's a tough one.
That's a change through the years, I would imagine.
Yes, I would. I mean, I am very Canadian. I grew up in Canada. My sensibility was like shaped in Canada.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I grew up watching and loving Canadian things. But my dad is American, so even in Canada. And he's not just American, he's from Newark, which is like very American, and my whole dad's side of the family is from New Jersey. So I would grow up going to New Jersey and spending time in New Jersey and surrounded.
I'm New Jersey.
Where in New Jersey?
Clifton.
Where, okay.
That's like just north of Newark.
Okay, yeah. And then my grandmother lived in Parsippany, which is not great.
No, not great. I wrestled there once.
Yeah.
And I was really intimidated. I was heavy, so I was in the heavyweight category in 7th grade.
Yeah.
And this kid from Parsippany came out and flipped me over and put his crotch in my face and pinned me in front of everybody with his balls on my face, and I quit the next day.
I get it. The Parsippany pin, they call it. It's a career ender. You don't want that. But I've lived in America since I was 16 or 17, basically. I moved to LA.
You were a kid.
So yeah, I was a kid. So I've lived in LA for almost 30 years at this point, I guess, 25 years.
So did you come down here solo when you got the gig?
No, my parents came down with me for a few years. It was just coincidentally, my parents were both unemployed and our house was up for sale when I got cast in Freaks and Geeks, basically. So they just came to LA with me for a couple years. Yeah.
He's our only shot.
Literally. They know a good bet when they see one. Yeah.
What do you think of all of this Canada talk? all of this going on.
I mean, it's just so silly.
It's so crazy, right? You think it's just a distraction? You think they're just? I mean, these tariffs are real. They're having to fight back with that.
I know. I don't even know anymore. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the end game is. I don't know what anyone's trying to do.
That's my thing.
I don't get what the goal is.
I know. I'm like,
what?
What?
Seems like chaos.
Yeah, it feels like
sheer chaos to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, do they have any what is their end game? What do they want?
I don't know. If someone let my crazy old grandfather run the country, it would be terrible. Trust me. So I think it's like that.
Yeah. It feels like that. I
was in Texas for South by the other day. We already dinner with some friends who are Republicans, and even the guy was like, I don't know what he's doing with these tariffs. I'm like, not exactly.
Yeah.
No shit, man. He's like, I'm starting to think it doesn't quite make sense. It's like, really?
Yeah.
You think?
I literally on Wednesday was in New York doing a gig for all these heads of corporations, like CEOs, like real smart, like very Republican people, and they were calling them terrifying.
The best joke made by a Republican.
But it didn't calm me down.
No. Get it? You see what we did?
See, we know what we're doing.
We know what we're doing. Get that on Gutfield.
Oh, the worst. I literally had a driver yesterday taking me from the airport, just talking about all the great comics on there. I was like,
oh, God.
I'll just walk.
Yeah,
just let me go.
Let me out. Run me over.
People complain that comedy is hard today, but don't you think that the political correctness is just the latest way to describe the reality that comedy is just always hard?
Yeah, it's not something I've ever thought, what I mean? Like, I think I've made stuff, we've been making stuff for 25 years or so, and I don't know if we're like the edgiest people out there making stuff, but I think generally have like R-rated comedic fare that tries not to pull punches, I guess, and I mean, it's not something that we've ever complained about, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm always so confused as to like what the specifics are with what people feel is
that they can't say,
that they wish was still on the table that just isn't anymore. Like, I would love to hear the exact joke you wish you could tell that you don't think you can anymore.
That's a great point.
Yeah, because I just don't see it. And I think like if you're clever and you're good and you're able to and it either works. It's a very binary thing in many ways. Like it either works or it doesn't. You know what I mean? And like if you say something and no one laughs and everyone thinks you're a fucking asshole, like you didn't land it. You know?
Yeah.
And if you say something and everyone's like, oh wow, I mean that's funny. I didn't think you could do that, but it's funny. Then you did it.
Then it works, right?
I mean? Yeah, then it works. So like and for us, we've seen, we test our movies, and we've over the years have tested jokes where you just feel it. You're like, oof, like that is not. No one wants to hear that. You know what I mean? And for me, like, and if you have a lot of other good jokes, it's not like a concession. It's like a relief that you are doing something that is funny instead of something that seems like it's like people just don't fucking dig it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Just to be provocative.
Yeah, I don't get that at all. And even if there's funny, like I'm a big fan of Anthony Jeselnik, like he's very provocative. His whole thing is trying to be provocative, and he's still very funny, and he does not offend people. You know?
Exactly.
Like in a true way.
That's true.
And so I think like, to me, there's plenty of people who are doing exactly the thing that people seem to be complaining you can't do anymore. And as someone who makes, we make The Boys, we make, we've made a lot of R-rated movies over the years, and I've found that if anything, I'm like amazed that we're able to get away with, you know, and like how disgusting we're able to be, and people seem accepting of it. Like I rejoice in it, and there's no joke I wish I could make, and I am like angry at society for stripping me of that right. Like that just seems so such a weird way to view comedy, in my opinion.
When the end result is, are they going to laugh? It pretty much takes all of the guessing out of it.
And like I find, and I don't. People are like, you can't. Has anyone actually been like have their career taken from them over a joke? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Like I think like people do despicable things, but I wouldn't scratch that up to like comedy's hard now.
Right. Yeah. So, somebody going on a drunken racist tweet fest at night.
That's not comedy's
that's
hard
not
now.
comedy.
You shouldn't do that. You know what I mean? Or like, it's like people break the law. Like that's not comedy's hard now.
Right.
That's like maybe that person sucks, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your company, you have a ton of projects that you're working on. Do you feel like this is a good time for you? Just like, is this another chapter? Like, it seems like you're running a business now, or are you making Evan do it?
No, no. I'd say if anything, for the last maybe 5 years, we've kind of focused on like building up the company, maybe even more, 6 years, and like making it like a production company that's sort of up and running, and now that it's actually allowed us to do something like the studio where we kind of are able to step away completely we still do a lot of stuff with the company.
But you got people.
Yes, we have a better infrastructure in place that allows us to like go write and direct and act in a TV show for months and months and months together, basically. So, so it's fun though. And honestly, the way it works is like there's a lot of things I work on as a producer very regularly, and scripts that I am helping to develop and helping to write and kind of shepherding along. But what's nice is now we kind of just focus on the stuff that we want to be focused on, or the stuff that needs our attention.
It's very cool. I mean, because a lot of times you'll hear people that are successful actors or whatever, and they get these production deals, and it's just in name only. It's just it's for the studio to keep you. But you guys are cranking stuff out.
Yeah, we actually produce a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of friends who have come to me over the years being like, I want to start a production company like you guys. And I'm like, no, I don't think you do. It does not, like, you have to really like the act of producing and developing scripts and working with writers, and you have to really believe in your ability to be additive to that process, and in your ability to communicate it in a way that is helpful and pleasurable to everybody involved, and you have to like being in meetings with studio people and arguing over budgets and casting and things like that. And it's something like I was always kind of brought up doing that by Judd. Like he was looking back, really training all of us that worked on Freaks and Geeks and Undeclared to kind of not just be writers, but be producers, you know? And so that was always like the kind of language we spoke, but
so great.
I think a lot of people see us do it and they're like, I want to try it. And I'm like, you don't want to do this. It's not for everybody. Like you have to, it's
be built for it.
You have to be built for it and really like it and really enjoy it and learn it. And really not just assume that like, just because you're a producer, like it's easy now and people do whatever you want. Like like we have not hit the level of success where people just, where it's not without its constant conflict.
I don't know. Does anyone ever?
I would hope James Cameron. I hope no one's yelling at James Cameron.
He might be the only one.
Yeah, maybe.
He might be the only one.
It's my only hope. Let him do what he wants.
I've been around some big people, and they're always fighting. They're
all
always
stressed
scrapping.
Out.
No.
It's tough.
Is the writing the joy, or is the producing or the acting?
I think actually like bringing like doing the show where we were writing and directing and I was acting in it and that and producing it, like that to me is like a very fun version of things and it's very engaging but I do enjoy all of it, like, and I enjoy acting in other people's things, and it's sort of a relief to not have all that pressure and to just be able to focus on acting, and I enjoy writing things that other people go make. Like they are all fun, but when it all kind of comes together and it's a thing I really love and believe in, and we're able to kind of do all the jobs, and it hasn't happened that many times. Like it's only happened a few times throughout our careers that we've really like invested all of it into it, and it was great. Like we had so much fun doing this, Yeah.
This really was a treat. I really felt
so
I just loved your sensibility and your comedy for so long.
That's so nice.
That I knew when we'd finally get a chance to meet, it would be cool. And
it's so nice to meet you. I've been a fan of yours a very long time.
Oh, thanks, man.
So thank you for having me.
Yeah, and if we do the Stooges, if we could shoot in LA, that'd be great.
No, that'd be amazing. I would like that at my house.
We could just do a puppet show.
Yeah, exactly.
In the kitchen.
Just film ourselves talking about it. We'll do a podcast about us writing the Three Stooges movie.
Thanks so much. This was great. Enjoy your bread. Let me know how you like the bread.
Oh, I'm gonna kill this bread.
All right, we got it.